Hey guys, this is Lashitsky back here with another video. I made this video yesterday, but it didn't. It was like a 14-minute video, and it only came in as 8, so it like cut out like half of it for some reason, and I'm not sure why. So I'm just gonna do it again and try and shorten it down this time. And yeah, so my video is gonna be kind of stable related. It's gonna be about how the Nexus stacks up against some of the most famous stables in pro wrestling history. Yeah, so let's get started with probably the most famous stable in pro wrestling history, which is the Four Horsemen, which was around in well, they officially formed in 1986. It was Ric Flair was the leader, and then it was Arn Anderson. Well, the original four was Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, his brother Ole or Ole. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. I'm just gonna say Ole Anderson, and the last guy's name was damn, I can't remember what the fourth guy's name was. Um, he has a really annoying name that I, for some reason, can never remember how to pronounce properly. So I'm just gonna look that up quickly because it's bothering me a lot. I don't know why, but it is. Yeah. And a fourth guy whose name escapes me, but I will probably remember at some point in time, but not at the moment. It's pissing me off. But yeah, the Four Horsemen were probably the first big wrestling stable that was around. Um, they kind of ran the show for a little while. Tully Blanchard, that's not freaking hell. Tully Blanchard. Okay, yeah, it was Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard. I'm really sorry for that long lapse in time. I'm such a freaking dumbass. I can never remember anything. Anyway, yeah. So they all kind of joined together because they had one common goal, which was taking down Dusty Rhodes and this other guy. His name is it was like T.A. Baracus or something. I can't even remember what his name was, but yeah. They had one common goal, so they just kind of branded together, and the rest is really history. They were great on the mic. They had great personalities, and they held one of the more important things too is they held major championships. All four members. Ric Flair's world champion, and the Andersons were the tag champs, and Tully Blanchard was like the national champion or something, which is probably like the global championship nowadays in TNA or whatever. But yeah, I think there's 4 criteria that I would categorize as important as being a memorable stable. One is the characters, so like star power, people that you would know. Another would be, did they have significant title runs, or did they all hold titles, or did they not hold titles at all? Was there one guy that just held the title the whole time? Did they all have significant title runs or hold the title? Title didn't have to be a major one, but even the tag titles. Were they good on the mic, and were they good in the ring? Those are the 4 things that I kind of categorize as a good stable. So yeah, the Four Horsemen had all of that. They were classic. They kind of set the standard for stables to come after them. The next one that I think of is kind of a mixed WCW WWF. One of the most infamous ever, NWO, the New World Order, kind of originated because they all they're kind of like street thugs. Well, not really street thugs, but they wanted to be different or whatever, and they wanted to just take over. So I think it was started by Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and I don't know if it was Hulk Hogan or not. I think it was just Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and there's one other person who I can't remember right now. But yeah, it was mainly Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, guys like that, Sting, people like that, who originated the group. And they have had there's been 7 or 8 different versions of the NWO, which is crazy. They've had they've feuded once with the Wolf Pack, and then NWO Hollywood. So there's tons of ones. A crazy amount of people were involved. The 4th person that I couldn't really remember the name of, I still can't really remember what their name was. Oh well. It's not really that important that I remember. But really it was Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan. Those were the big ones, really. And then Sting kind of. But yeah, there were like 8 different incarnations of the NWO. That shows how popular they were and how many like and like I mean you can have groups like the Nexus is trying to brand on 2 different stables of their one group. You can have different groups, but if they suck, it doesn't matter. These groups had good people in them. There's NWO, which had 18, like at least 18 people in it, and there were some big names in that group, which was big. They had Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Ted DiBiase, the Giant, which is the Big Show, Sting, Six, which is X-Pac. They had like Eric Bischoff, Buff Bagwell, Kurt Hennig, Dusty Rhodes, Scott Steiner. They even had Dennis Rodman in there. So they had star power beyond belief in the NWO. You had NWO Japan, which had people that weren't actually, like, it was mainly Japanese, but there were also like guys like Sting in there and like Buff Bagwell and stuff. Then you had NWO Hollywood led by Hollywood Hogan, of course. NWO Wolfpack led by Kevin Nash. NWO Elite. Then you had NWO Black and White, NWO 2000, NWO Wolfpack Family Elite. It's crazy. They had so many different groups, and they were just, you just remember NWO. Like, they're just classic. Like, you can't forget about the NWO because they were just crazy. They did crazy things every week. They were always involved in big like matches, or they were always involved in big storylines, and they held titles. They held a lot of titles. So the NWO, probably one of the more memorable ones, probably the first badass stable, and they really defined like attitude. Like they really got adult viewers back to watching the show. Like before, it was really just teenagers and stuff that were watching WCW and like the WWF. The NWO got adult viewers back. Like they got they were the ones that turned it into a more mature viewership, like with more adult content in it. They were the ones that got the adults back into it. So they're pretty important in terms of viewership and stuff like that. Then you had DX, they were just crazy good. They had Shawn Michaels, Triple H. They had well, the originals were Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna, and there's one other person that I can't remember the name of. If someone could tell me that, that'd be great. I don't feel like looking that up right now. They even had X-Pac, Road Dogg, and Badass Billy Gunn. So they had some of my favorites ever. X-Pac is one of my favorite wrestlers ever. He was originally the 1-2-3 Kid, but he was cool, man. I liked X-Pac. He was freaking sweet. He was a shorter guy, but he was just crazy, man. I just loved watching X-Pac. So yeah, they held major titles. They held, like, X-Pac was the European champ. I think he was either Triple H or Shawn Michaels. One of them, I think they had tag titles. I think one of them was a major title holder. They might not have been, but possibly. Don't quote me on that, though. They were just fun to watch. DX, one of my, if not my favorite stable to watch growing up was DX. Lovely. Loved them. DX was awesome. Chyna was the first really big, like, woman bodyguard. Like, she was the first ever. She was entertaining to watch, too. And, yeah, their whole group was just crazy good. Probably one of the funniest and most entertaining groups to watch, yet still having great in-ring skills. So they were another phenomenal stable. Then you can even involve like Evolution in there. Evolution, because that's where that's where Batista and Randy Orton got their start. That's where their roots are, was Evolution. Then you had the star power of Batista and of Triple H and Ric Flair as the mentors. And Triple H was the world champion. Batista and Ric Flair were tag champs, and Randy Orton was the IC champ. So you had the titles there. You had the in-ring skills. You had the wrestling skills. You love to hate the Evolution, just because the fact that they pissed you off so much, but they were good, and they were good wrestlers, and they did whatever they could to win, which is what you had to do. So yeah, even Evolution could be branched in there, but I would not include the Nexus in these groups, and there's a few reasons why. You only think of Wade Barrett when you think of the Nexus. You don't think of all the other NXT guys that are in there, because they never do anything. I mean, some guys might think of maybe Gabriel and Slater, but other than that, no. You just kind of think of Wade Barrett. And he's never had a title. Like, he still doesn't have a title. I don't know if they're going to keep going with the Nexus, but I don't see it going anywhere. Like, I mean, I think it's just a constant circle. They do the same stuff. They have the same script, but they're never going to go anywhere. I think they should just get rid of them. Like, they're slightly growing on me, but I don't think they're going to be memorable. No one else in the group ever does anything. They just kind of stand around, and they're just not entertaining to watch. The only titles they've had was tag titles, and they didn't hold them long at all. So yeah, in that term, they really, I mean, they won't go down as one of the better stables in wrestling, pro wrestling history at all. I mean, I think now they're trying to get like maybe garner more attention by putting more guys in there, but I really think it's just gonna, they might be setting up a Nexus WrestleMania match, but after that I think they're just gonna implode and get like eventually get broken down, and I don't think anyone's gonna remember them just because they didn't have anything really memorable about the whole stable. Like nothing about them was entertaining. Like, yeah, sure, they attacked John Cena, but after that, it just got freaking like you played it over and over again, and it got boring. It got really boring really quickly. So yeah, I don't, in my mind, I wouldn't include them in top stables, and I wouldn't even put them in the same as like Legacy. Legacy was even good because of the fact that they had like the Roots. They were all like second generation superstars: Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase, Cody Rhodes. Yeah, so I wouldn't even include them in that. Even the Spirit Squad held like titles. Like, yeah, I know I'm not including the Spirit Squad as anything half decent, but just as an example. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Nexus. I don't think they're going to be remembered at all, and I don't think they'll go down as a prime tag team. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think, whether or not the Nexus will be remembered, and yeah, just tell me what you think about what some of your favorite stables were in wrestling history. I know there's some in the WWF that I'm forgetting, like probably that, like even Nation of Domination or whatever. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Let me know who your favorites were, and yeah, I'm out.